so much genocide.
Oh, we have to. We have to. I mean, but you know, in many congregations, there's Christians, Jews, and Muslims.
Voice right now, can you hear my voice? Welcome to you hear my voice and come in. Oh, come in now. Here they come now. Oh, welcome to come in, to come in, to come in. Welcome, do come in, do come in. Yeah. Come on in, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Come on in. Hey, David. Somebody might want to get that back door. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. So I totally took hymn 18 and bluegrassed it up. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's ground, my friends they gathered round, oh my soul, oh my soul. My friends they gathered round, oh my soul. To love and to our friends I will Welcome, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fayetteville. My name is Mark. Unitarian Universalism is a religious tradition that values freedom in religious thought and journey. We hold the unity of our interconnections, connections to each other, to all of life, and to the precious universe of which we're a part. We affirm the universality of love and hope as we journey together in community, and we welcome you, whoever you are at this moment, and wherever you are in your spiritual journey. For those of you joining us online, welcome. If you are new, please check out our website, UUFayetteville.org, for more information. For those of you visiting us for the first time, you'll find a visitor information card in your seat back in front of you. We'd love for all of you to fill out one so we can get you on the email list and keep you informed of our events. Later in the services, we'll have a time where you're invited to come forward and drop a stone symbolizing your joy or concern into our bowl of water. If you have a joy or concern you'd like to share, we invite you to fill out one of the yellow cards on the seat back in front of you. There's a place there to indicate if you want your joy or concern shared aloud, or if you want it to be confidential and shared only with leadership. If you do fill out a yellow card, you can bring it forward at that time. If you are online, you may write your joys, concerns in the comments there at that time. Please note that these comments will be public on Facebook. If you have a need for hearing assistance, our AV tech, David, can help you with that. Children are always welcome in our service, but there's a staff nursery downstairs available as well. Please remember to silence your cell phones as we enter our service. And I'd like to briefly share with you a Buddhist passage by Thich Nhat Hanh in his work The Heart of Buddhist Teaching, Transforming Suffering into Joy, Peace, and Transformation. Actually, as referenced by Renée in her excellent Buddhist presentation last summer. And it goes like this, quote, "There is a story in Zen circles about a man and a horse. The horse is galloping rapidly, and that man seems to be going somewhere important. Another man alongside shouts, 'Where are you going?' And the first man replies, 'I don't know. Ask the horse.'" This is also our story. We don't know where we're going, and we can't stop. The horse is our habit energy pulling us along, and we're powerless. We are always running, and it's become a habit. We struggle all the time, even in our sleep. We are at war within ourselves, and it's very easily can start a war with others, unquote. And so this may seem a little over the top for a lot of us, but it is a story I need to revisit every once in a while, of having to pull back on the reins of that steed, get off my high horse, and observe just where my ambition-driven busyness and habits might be taking me. And it usually, Mark, slow down and observe. That's a lesson that I have to keep coming back to even at my late life stage. And that usually leads me to one of his favorite statements that he makes later in this book, in which he says, "Our only true possessions in life are our actions with others." Thank you.
Good morning, friends. Isn't it great to be a UU? Today's service was going to be a love letter to UUism and ourselves. And it will still have a bit of that. But I want you to know that there's a lot going on within our denomination right now. A lot going on across our globe right now. During our joys and concerns time, I will share a statement that our UUA put out condemning violence and calling for an immediate ceasefire in the Middle East. And we wrote a letter, we, the UUA, for those of you that are new, the UUA is called the Unitarian Universalist Association, and that's kind of our governing body type. So the UUA put out a statement and wrote a letter to President Biden about it. Our statement got picked up by the press, and I'm hoping this will lead to further action and get to end the violence. UUism and its fearless leaders are doing a lot right now, including lots of changes to Article 2 in our bylaws, which hold the principles. So my message will be slightly abbreviated today so that we may put some focus on what has come up for us as a denomination. Okay, so next. Since about 2016, there has been a new ceremony in UUism. It's called chocolate communion. And it's still a bit of a mystery to me because I can't figure out who did it first. As best I can tell, it was First Parish Church near Boston, Massachusetts. The UUA headquarters are in Boston, and there's a lot of denominational moving and shaking in that area. So, chocolate communion may have started in Massachusetts. Many other congregations have since implemented chocolate communion into their liturgical calendars. So, I thought it would be good if we here at UUF could give it a try, too. It's almost always done in February, and most of the ones that I watched or read from other churches had some sort of homily beforehand that didn't have anything to do with chocolate. And so I'm going to do that too. We will talk about love and polity. Polity, church polity, what brings us together as a church and so far as policies go. You've heard me say it before, I am a nerd about church polity, especially big deal denomination-wide church polity. And yes, it isn't always easy to make church polity exciting or dramatic, but what if I present it with chocolate and wrap it up in a love letter? Dear UUism, I know that you are going through a lot of changes right now, and while I know change is difficult, isn't it so very beautiful that you can change? Oh, UUism, isn't it lovely that as your people evolve, you can also evolve? Your covenants are so important and pretty. I'm so thankful that you aren't based on creeds. That's the difference, you know. UUism is based on covenants, not creeds. Most mainstream religions and Christian denominations are based on creeds and rules from many, many years ago, like 1500s or before. Our UU covenants change to be better as we learn better and grow and evolve. I know the word covenant is weird sometimes, but for us, it just means a sacred agreement. We agree to these things as people of Unitarian Universalism. Our UU covenant is rooted in love. And guess what? It's about to get even more focused on love. Okay, I'll pause here. Earl, relight our chalice.
Love is a spirit of this community.
How about this? Chocolate brought a lot of us here today. So please rise if you are willing and able, and let us sing and rejoice. Here we go. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Last line. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Woo, you can be seated.
Hi, beautiful lady. Okay, guys, I'm so excited about this book. Okay, this author is amazing, and he wrote a couple of books that you will need to make note of if you have children in your life or are a purveyor of children's literature. This one is called Crown, an ode to the fresh cut. Behold all the downstairs, they were like, look at all the coins on the cover. Okay, so those are all the awards that the book has gotten. And there's another one, I think it's called I Am Every Good Thing. Such good books. You are going to love this book. First, look to the person to your right. Well, no. Look to the person next to you and take turns saying, you look good today. Thank you. You do too. I like those sparkles. That's what I'm talking about. Because you guys do look really good today. Like you looked good to me from over there. You look even better from up here. Yes, you look good. Okay. Crown, an ode to the fresh cut. I got to say the author's name. Derek Barnes. And I have to say the illustrator's name because, oh my God, the illustrations in this book. Gordon C. James is the illustrator. Okay. When it's your turn in the chair, you stand at attention and forget about who you were when you walked through that door. Do you feel like you know that kid? I feel like I know that kid from that picture. You came in as a lump of clay, a blank canvas, a slab of marble. But when my man is done with you, they'll want to post you up in a museum. That's my word. He'll drape you like royalty with that cape to keep the fine hairs off your neck and your princely robes. It's amazing what a tight fade, high-low bald does for your confidence. Dark Caesar. Have you ever felt like a dark Caesar walking out of the hairstylist? If you haven't, maybe you need a new hairstylist. Who knows? You might just smash that geography exam tomorrow and rearrange the entire principal's honor roll. A fresh cut does something to your brain, right? It hooks up your intellectual. You're a star, A brilliant, blazing star. Not the kind you'll find on a sidewalk in Hollywood. Nope. They're going to have to wear shades when they look up to catch your shine. He'll lean you back in the chair, dab that cool shaving cream on your forehead, and then craft a flawless line with that razor. Slow, steady, surgical. It frames your swagger. The cute girl in the class across the way won't be able to keep her pretty eyes off you. Her friends will giggle and whisper, "Girl, he's so fine." Yeah, that's what they'll say. The whole school will be seasick from the rows and rows of ripples. You'll have more waves on your head than the Atlantic Ocean. Shout out to my do-rag and patience. There's a dude to the left of you with a faux hawk, deep part skin fade. He looks presidential. Maybe he's the CEO of a tech company that manufactures cool. He's a boss, and that's how important he looks. Dude to the right of you looks majestic. There are thousands of black angels waiting to guide and protect him as soon as he steps a foot out the door. That is how important he looks. There's a dude standing in the mirror that can't get over the masterful designs crafted on the side of his dome. Everywhere he goes, people will ask for his autograph. He looks that fresh. He looks like he owns some acres of land on Saturn. Maybe there's a river named after him on Mars. He looks that important. There are two dudes, one with locks, the other with cornrows, and a lady with a butterscotch complexion. And all they want is a shape-up, tapered sides, a trim, and a crisp but subtle line. And sometimes in life, that's all you ever need, a crisp but subtle line. When your barber is done, you'll feel like $1 million and some change. When his fingertips hit you with that apple green alcohol or that witch hazel, it'll sting, but not like a scorpion or a hornet, more like an electric stamp of approval. And when you see the cut yourself in that handheld mirror, you'll smile a really big smile. That's the you that you love the most. That's the you that wins everything. That's the gold medal you. Every person in the shop will rise to their feet and give you a round of applause for being so fly. Not really, but they'll look like they want to. You'll see it in their eyes. It's the look your English teacher gives you when she hands you your last test with a bright red 97 stamped on it. That's how your mother looks at you before she calls you beautiful. Flowers are beautiful. Sunrises are beautiful. Being viewed in your mother's eyes as someone that matters, that's beautiful. And you'll take it. You don't mind it at all. Finally, he will remove your cape and then swipe you down with a brush made from a golden horsetail. You'll put the money in his hand without even expecting change back. Tip that man, tip that man. It was worth it. It always is. You know why? Because you'll leave out of the shop every single time feeling the exact same way. Magnificent. Flawless, like royalty. Thank you.
Thank you. Ooh, I love that story. Friends, the UUA did something big. And we don't always do stuff like this. Not only did we put out a statement that got picked up by the press, we sent a letter to President Biden, and the statement is kind of lengthy, so I won't read it all, and I don't read every single thing that comes out of the UUA, but I think this is important. Our UU governing body is standing up and doing something, and we need to know about it. Here are some excerpts from the statement. There are crystallizing moments in the course of history when, in spite of the differences that exist among us, our common reverence for life demands that we speak with moral courage and clarity on the side of love. As people of faith and conviction, Unitarian Universalists share a belief that every human life is sacred, endowed with worth and dignity from the moment of birth, with no person more deserving of freedom and flourishing than any other. Our living tradition has long maintained that the only hells that exist are those that we create for one another here on earth. We are watching in real time as the people of Gaza exist in a human-made hell that grows more unimaginable every day. At this point, 28,000 Palestinian civilians have been killed. Nearly 70,000 have been injured by Israeli attacks in Gaza since Hamas attacked Israeli citizens on October 7th. The medical infrastructure in Gaza has been decimated. And the Israeli government continues to prevent humanitarian aid, including food and water, from reaching refugees. And this week, the Netanyahu administration has announced the forced evacuation and ground invasion of Rafah, where 1.3 million displaced Palestinians have set up a massive tent city as a last refuge. The UUA first joined the call for a ceasefire on October 17th, rooted in our historic positions as an organization. Nearly 4 months later, this situation could not be more urgent. This terrifying moment calls for all peoples of faith and conscience to do everything in our power to push governments to interrupt genocide, address humanitarian crisis, avert multi-international war, and weave just and lasting peace across the globe. The UUA further condemns the U.S. government's unabated complicity in the crisis in Gaza, from providing massive military aid to Israel to slashing funding to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees. Without international pressure, the Netanyahu administration will undoubtedly follow through on their vow to achieve total victory by decimating the entirety of Gaza. We call for the U.S. government to stop funding Israel's military machine and to leverage its unrivaled influence upon Israel in the world community to intervene and stop the attacks on Gaza. Each day, the assault on Gaza continues to bring us closer to the brink of calamitous international war. Tensions continue to escalate among nations, and violence has already transgressed national borders and international waters. As a faith community that has historically advocated for peaceful resolution of conflict and protection of international law, we believe it is imperative that the global community respond decisively to mitigate ongoing harm and prevent further catastrophic loss of life. This terrifying moment calls all people of faith and conscience to do everything in our power to push our governments to interrupt the genocide, address humanitarian crisis, avert multi-international war, and weave just and lasting peace across the globe. You notice they said that twice. That was me, not them. In that spirit, we offer our prayers to all those working to mitigate harm and stop the atrocities, from journalists and doctors and humanitarian workers on the ground, to Israeli citizens and Jews across the diaspora faithfully engaging and courageously protesting the right-wing Netanyahu regime to global multi-faith and secular movements advocating for ceasefire. We urge Unitarian Universalists to listen deeply, especially to the voices of the Palestinians whose lives and communities have been the vast majority of casualties of this war, and to think critically about the ways the United States is complicit in enabling this disaster to continue. Like many, we dream of an enduring peace in the Middle East. Israelis and Palestinians deserve real and lasting safety, as do all people in the Holy Land. Long-term diplomatic solutions that honor international human rights and religious freedom are essential. However, in this critical moment, we must pressure our leaders to turn back from this precipice of unspeakable violence, or this dream won't have a future. We call upon all Unitarian Universalists to open our hearts and be present to the depth of human suffering in this moment. Not just by one group, but by people of many nationalities, identities, and religions. We commit to identifying and mitigating the evils of anti-Semitism, anti-abrism, and Islamophobia in our own tradition, and to address their toxic legacies wherever we encounter them. Our faith rejects all forms of nationalism and supremacy and insists that we struggle for a multiracial, multi-religious democracy in our own nation and across the world. We encourage all Unitarian Universalists to take action in solidarity, not only with global movements for ceasefire, but with liberatory, pro-democratic movements of all kinds that are working towards a future that contains the conditions of possibility for a true and enduring peace. That's it. That's what the UUA said. There's no denying where we stand as UUs. Beloveds, I know it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot out there, and there's also a lot in here, our own stuff in our own lives. In addition to caring for the globe, we all have these little worlds of our own. So it is fitting that it's time for our tradition of joys and concerns as a UUFF family. You're welcome now to come forward and drop a stone into the water and turn in your joys and concerns card. And you may simply drop a stone without dropping a card. Jory, would you offer us some music? In our community, we make time each week to share pieces of our lives with each other. We do this because each person in this community has value. Each person's experience matters. We share our sorrows with one another today, knowing that concerns come into each person's life, and knowing that together we offer comfort. Not everything, joy or sorrow, can be shared openly in community. Some must be shared eye to eye or held in the heart. Are there any Facebook joys and concerns today, Jean?
There are not.
There are not. We further recognize that some do not have voices with which to speak to the depth of their pain or the height of their celebration. We make space each week for silent stone dropping, knowing that the life and experience of every person matters, and together our ripples reach through each other and extend globally. Mark, will you drop a couple stones for those joys and concerns that are not shared today? In addition to our chalice that Earl lit for us, I've lit an additional candle. Yes, for us here at UUFF. Yes, for all UUs across the globe. And most of all, for those in harm's way, those that are in the hellscape of war. Thank you, Mark. This is unusual for me, but friends, let us pray each in our own way. Spirit of life, who draws us together in a web of holy relationships, make your presence known with us and in us and among us. Remind us that we are not alone in history. Ignite us with the courage of the living tradition. Remind us that we are not alone in entering the future. Anchor us with patience and perseverance. Remind us that we are not alone in our times of grief and pain. Comfort us with your Spirit. Manifest in human hands and voices. Remind us that we are not alone in our joy and wonder. Inspire us to honor and extend the beauty we find in this world. Divine music of the universe, let our hearts beat in diverse and harmonious rhythms, cooperating with an everlasting dance of love. May we move with the rhythms of peace. May we move with the rhythms of compassion. May we move with the rhythms of justice. Source of stars and planets and water and land, open our hearts to all our neighbors. Open our souls to a renewal of faith. Open our hands to join together in the work ahead. So be it. Blessed be. Namaste.
Now is the time for offering. The important work of this fellowship is possible because of your generous contributions and time, talent, and treasure. Every contribution of every size is helpful and appreciated. As we pass the offering baskets, we invite you to share financially. If you prefer, you may give at our website by texting online or mailing checks to our office.
Thanks, Jory. I love every note you play. Oh, friends. I'm going to have to cut this a little bit further. It's 15 till. So, okay. But thinking back to the opening words, where were we? I think we were to the part in our love letter to UUism where we were talking about how great it is that we are a living tradition and our religion is adaptable to our changing world. So now Article 2 in our bylaws, I could write a whole love letter just to Article 2. It's the part that contains our principles. Our principles are the thing that brings us together as UUs. It's what we all agree to, and I'm going to go ahead and read these for us. I think it's important. The first principle is the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Yes. The second principle, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Yes. Third principle, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. Yes. Fourth principle, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Yes. The fifth principle, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and society at large. Yes. The sixth principle, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all people. Yes. Seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of existence of which we are all a part. Yes. Friends, these are our beloved principles. Aren't they wonderful? Yeah. Maybe it's because I've been a UU for so long, but they really sound like love to me. They really do. But there's been a buzz the past 10 years or so saying that there aren't enough action words in our principles. There aren't enough verbs. We are a people of action. We UUs literally put our backs into it, get our hands dirty, and work for social justice. We walk our talk with activism. Many UU churches have adopted an eighth principle about specifically working to eradicate racism in our lives. But many of our church leaders and movers and shakers didn't think it was enough. We need more verbs, more action words to really have a covenant and agreement for UUs that will change our world. Love in action. Beloveds, Article 2 is changing to reflect this. During Flower Communion last year, many of you heard me talk about the proposed changes to Article 2 that will be voted on at this year's General Assembly. Well, February 1st was the deadline for submitting amendments to the change, and there were a lot submitted. These amendments will be discussed and voted on this summer. As you can imagine, there's been quite an uproar about changing our principles. But they are evolving like we are evolving. There are actually quite a few changes to Article 2, but today we're just going to focus on the principles. Thank you. This is what the principles will change to. The word love is overlaid over our UU chalice, solidly rooting love at the center of everything we do, and the 6 outstretched arms encircling our 6 core values. The next one, if you please. So love is in the center. Love is the power that holds us together, and we are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. And then you'll see interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence with reverence for the great web of life, and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. Okay. So, I really want to read all of them to you. I really, really do. There's also pluralism and justice and transformation and generosity and equity. The UUA has put out a list of frequently asked questions, and I wanted to read one of these to you. Why change Article 2 now? Why? Unitarian Universalism is a living tradition that learns and adapts to meet the needs of each generation. It's been nearly 40 years since a comprehensive review and revision of Article 2. The digital age has shifted our interactions with community and truth. The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted our interdependence and where individualism falls short. There is a rise in global autocracies and attacks on democratic institutions, and climate catastrophe and mass extinctions threaten the delicate balance of the web of life. These are just a few of the major struggles our living tradition must face today and in our future. With the articulation of our shared UU values, we can be better equipped to make values-based decisions in facing these new and evolving realities. These changes to Article 2 will be voted on this summer at These changes to Article 2 will be voted on this summer at General Assembly, and I will be attending that. And I would love for some of you all to attend with me. It's virtual this year, so we could just meet at the church and party here. Article 2 hasn't been changed since the 80s. UU history will be made with this vote. I will do my best to keep you informed of our big denominational changes, and I will do my best to keep love at the center of our core values. You know what love needs sometimes? Chocolate. This will be a very abbreviated chocolate communion. Beloveds. From the back, Jean just went like this, as though I was going to throw chocolate at you all. Beloved, sometimes life is very sweet, like white chocolate. Sometimes life is sweet with a bit of complexity, like milk chocolate. Sometimes life is bittersweet, with memories and feelings and thoughts that are deep and rich, like dark chocolate. And sometimes it's just kind of bitter, yet still interesting and fulfilling, like that super extreme dark chocolate. All our chocolate today is fair trade. We have white, milk, dark, and vegan dark. Please come up and get a piece of chocolate, but don't eat it until we all have our chocolate. So, Jory, will you offer us some music? Chocolate music, please. Dear ones, what does your chocolate feel like in your hands? Melty? Perfect. Smell it. What's it smell like? Love. Okay, ready? Let's eat it, but let's let a little bit melt in your mouth before you chew it. What do you taste? It's a complex taste, right? Let this chocolate remind you of the complexity and richness of our UU faith, full of sweetness, depth, and able to contain multitudes of different folks, different beliefs, but all rooted with love at the center. Thank you. Namaste.
If you are willing and able to rise and sing along as you're able. This is a new hymn for us. I still got chocolate in my mouth, though. Here we go. I am who I'm becoming. I am all I have done. I am what I am dreaming. I've only just begun. I am who I'm becoming. I am all I have done. I am what I am dreaming. I've only just begun. You are who you're becoming. You are all you have done. You are you've been dreaming. You've only just begun. You are who you're becoming. You are all you have done. You are what you are dreaming. You've only just begun. We are who we're becoming. We are all we have done. We are what we are dreaming. We've only just begun. We are who we're becoming. We are all we have done. We are what we are dreaming. We've only just begun. Lovely. Thank you.
We extinguish this flame
We're going to abbreviate the announcements due to time constraints today, so please go on the web and check out upcoming ones, important ones for new members next year or month and so forth. Are there any announcements at large that any of the congregation would like to make? Okay. Oh, Renee, I'm running a bit late. I've got a horse to catch back home. Can
Okay. Thank you, Mark. I knew he was going to be great at this. Yeah. Our Unitarian Universalist Fellowship is a living tradition. We aren't trying to keep it the same. We want our bylaws to evolve and reflect reality. That's why UUs don't use creeds from the Dark Ages. Our tradition is a living one that changes and evolves as we change and evolve. And we want our governing body to make serious and for real statements about what's going on in the world when it's so very devastating. We want our governing body to write to the president when we have something to say to them. And I'm happy to say that we do it all with love at the center of our shared values. Beloveds, let love be the center of everything you do this week. Please come get some more chocolate so I don't have to take it home with me. Namaste. Jory. Thank you.
If you know this song, sing along. Flipping through all these magazines, telling me who I'm supposed to be. Way too good at camouflage. Can't see what I am, I just see what I'm not. I'm guilty about everything that I eat. Feeling myself is a felony. Jedi level sabotage. Voices in my head make up my entourage. Cause I'm a black belt when I'm beating up on myself. Cause I'm an expert at giving love to somebody else. I, me, myself, and I can't see eye to eye. Me, myself, and I. Oh, why do I compare myself to everyone? Always got my finger on the self-destruct. Wonder when I love me is enough. I wonder when I love me is enough. Why am I always looking for a ride or die? Cause mine's the only heart I'm gonna have alive. After all the times I went and messed it up, I wonder when I love me is enough. Yeah, 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 yeah. I wonder when I love me is enough. I wonder when I love me is enough. Haters that live on the internet, live in my head, should be paying rent. I'm way too good at listening. All these comments messing up my energy. Cause I'm a black belt when I'm beating up on myself. But I'm an expert at giving love to somebody else. I, me, myself, and I can't see eye to eye. Me, myself, and I. Oh, why do I have to admire everyone? Finger on the self-destruct. I wonder when I love me is enough. I wonder when I love me is enough. Why am I always looking for a ride or die? Cause mine's the only heart I'm gonna have alive. After all the times I went and messed it up, I wonder when I love me is enough. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. I wonder when I love me is enough. I wonder when I love me is enough. Yeah, 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 yeah. I wonder when I love me is enough. I wonder when I love me is enough. Yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah. I wonder when I love me is enough. I wonder when I love me is enough. I wonder when I love me is enough. I wonder when I love me is enough.